Door handle turns and rattles me into a hangover-like consciousness. The door flings open. Amelia enters, grunting from the exertion. Her long blonde hair falls over her pretty face, and her large brown eyes connect with mine. Granny, you in bed? Yes, it's too early to get up. I get in with you. She takes hold of the bottom sheet and makes straining noises and tries to pull herself up. My hand glides over her back and pyjama bottoms.
By real events, at the end of the 19th century, the body of a young girl was found in the Bo Peep Tunnel in St Warrior's Square Gardens railway station.
So this poem is really inspired by one of our very chatty cats. My cat's meow is very loud. You'd think he'd got a mic or megaphone upon a cloud. He is a little tyke. While sunbathing by the window, he chatters to the birds, longing for one to fly too low, then eat with cream and curds. His purring keeps them nice and high. No flying meals for him.
On its surface. His rowboat lay on the bank, its side almost hidden by last night's snow. One oar was sticking straight up, looking like an arm trying for attention. He'd meant to move the rowboat up into the garage, and the unexpected snowfall had caught him out. The crunching of his boots on the snow sounded loud in the still of the early morning. The birds hadn't started their morning serenade yet. He headed down the gentle slope towards the lake. As he neared the boat,
Piranha woman in the supermarket checkout. There was an old woman with a face like a piranha.
Vision when I held out my hand, or he perched on my shoulder and crooned his musical murmurings like a lullaby. Too quick for the cats, they ignored him. I scanned the trees to see if I could make him out in the colonies, but never could. One day he didn't come, nor the next, or the next, and I never saw him again.
An anthology which we hope to publish later this year. It's a memory stick. Hi, can I join you? His deep voice made me jump. Sorry? Do you mind if I sit down next to you? I squinted up at the young man. The winter sun was low and shone into my eyes from behind his right ear, which glowed. His features were hidden in shadow. I shifted on the pebbles to see him more clearly. The young man's face was very pale and smooth, framed by straight, longish white blonde hair, a beach fisherman. What do you want? I sounded rude, but strangers don't just turn up and ask to sit right next to you. The stone with a healing energy. Hold on to it all the while your head hurts, and it will ease the pain.
And opened his pocket and dropped the trap in and promptly forgot it. Well, who'd blame me, he thought. I'm a man who's been robbed. All of that day he spent looking for traces, following up clues and likely places, but of this bold thief he found not a hair. It was like looking for a ghost who'd never been there. Well, what can I say, he thought, scratching his head and pulling his ear. Oh dear, he was worn out when he got back home, because he'd looked everywhere from Sydney to Rome. His shoulders had drooped and his feet were all swollen. He had not found a sign of the thief who had stolen. Well, poor me, he sobbed. I'm just a man who's been robbed. He flopped in his chair and poured in his cup the tea he was sipping just as he looked up, and there, on the mantelpiece, he suddenly saw all of the cash that he'd been looking for. Well, bless me, he said, I haven't been robbed. He stood up all smiles and picked up his money and said, you know, this is all very funny. Then, still with a smile, shoved his hand in his pocket, and snap went the trap, because you know he'd forgot it. Well,
I was now going home, as seasoned a traveller as any 8-year-old deserves to be. It had been a magical fortnight, spent in the Sussex countryside, with my most favourite aunt and uncle, picnics, a trip to Hastings on the bus for candy floss and paddling, and roaming the fields that surrounded their house. wobbly attempts to ride my aunt's bicycle, and best of all, rushing through the country on the pillion of my uncle's thunderous red motorcycle. All over, all too soon. If I were honest, I had missed my mother, and even slightly missed my older brother. I could only hope that he had kept the Dandy and Beano comics that were our obligatory reading. My aunt hurried me along to find a seat in a no-smoking compartment. Oh, what luck! A vacant window seat. I climbed the steps and crossed the shiny brass threshold. Would I like my case in the overhead rack? Oh no, I could barely reach the rack, and my case contained enough food to sustain the French in their retreat from Moscow.